Welcome, welcome. If you're joining us from wherever you're joining us from, you're very, very welcome. Call a friend, send them a link, let them know that we are getting started. Very welcome. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joanita. I'll be your host for today. And I want to welcome you back to our XENO webinars. We've been taking a break, and all this was for us to be able to develop exciting series of conversations to help us as individuals, but most importantly as groups to thrive while investing together. So whether you are in the idea phase or you have already found a tribe to invest with, this upcoming series and the conversations that we have coming moving forward are going to help you excel together as investors. So we hope the month of July has been fantastic for you, as today happens to be the last day of July. We hope it's been prosperous, it's been nice, and we're super excited to get back into our webinars. For those that are joining us for the first time and you're hearing about XENO for the first time, well, we are a goal-based investment service whose mission is to ensure that whatever your dream is, whether it is to own a home, secure your child's education, or even secure your retirement, we provide you a simple and smart tool to help you plan, save, and invest to achieve these goals. So you can learn more about us by visiting our website. That's www.myxeno.com, or you can visit any of our social media platforms, or you can give us a call on any of the channels that we use so that you can have a chat with any of our advisors in case you have any questions. However, tonight, we're excited to kick off our conversation around groups and group investments. And this is going to be done with a fantastic panel. I hope you have your pens ready. I hope you're curious about our conversation today. And if you've had a chance to look at our marketing or our comms that we've been putting out, you know that our guests today are experienced gentlemen who have been in the field for quite some time. They both bask of a barrage of experience that I will not get into, because if I start to read their CVs here, our 1 hour shall end in their CVs. So allow me introduce them briefly. But while we do that, I'm going to ask Joanita to go ahead to share a poll with us. And this poll is basically just going to help us get to know you better, get to know your interests, especially for the different individuals that are looking or are interested in group investments. So what's happening? I'll get into our panelists for today. So our first panelist is a gentleman called Mr. John Kamara. He's a CFA, currently serves with XENO as a portfolio manager. John is an investment professional with over 11 years worth of experience in the financial service sector. So he was previously responsible for the co-management of over $100 million investment portfolio of pension funds at Africa Alliance Group, and worked on key corporate financial transactions. Welcome, John. Thank you so much for joining us today and for making the time.
Thank you, Joanita. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. And also we are joined by Mr. Henry Rwabuhinga. He's also a CPA and currently as the finance manager at Joint Clinical Research Center, who also happen to be XENO clients. Well, Henry is a seasoned finance professional with over 15 years of experience in the NGO and private sectors. Currently serves, like I said, as a finance manager at Joint Clinical Research Center, and is a director of Vitendo Global Consultants Limited, where he consults SMEs and NGOs on setting up tax and accounting systems. You can find out more about him, as you are genuinely going to find out about him as we go along with our discussion today. Joanita, is the poll up? Well, I will presume it's being worked on. So I'll continue. As we go along, I think the poll will come up. Just some house rules, as always. If you have any questions, please go ahead to leave them in our chat section. We'll be jumping those as we go along. If you feel like the question is itchy, and you don't want to forget it, just go ahead to type it in the comment section. It would also be really nice to direct it to the different panelists that you are looking to direct it to, so that we don't shoot shots at different people. So you could say, hi, my name is so-and-so. My question is for Kamara, and it's about this, So that will help us keep track of any of the conversations and not to lose sight of whatever question you may have. That being said, please keep your microphones muted at all times, unless given maybe when we get into our Q&A session for you to be able to share any questions you may have. Our poll is up, so please go ahead to make some time to respond to the question that we have asked. The question there is, have you invested with a group before? We want to jump into those experiences as we go along. So go ahead to answer that poll. We'll get started. Henry seems to be off. I don't know if it's a technical issue.
No, I'm on, Joan.
Oh, you're
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there you go. All right. All right, so we'll get started. Henry, I think our first question is for you. I think over the week when we had our conversation in trying to get to know ourselves better, I caught on to the fact that you have created a couple of group investment accounts with XENO, but also currently JCRC happens to be one of our clients as XENO. And I can tell that you do have a lot of experience around investment schemes. So I'd like to hear from you why you believe in investments as or investing with groups.
Thank you, Joan. Good evening to all our listeners, those ones who have joined us this evening for this discussion. Yeah, I will, and thank you for the introductory remarks. It's good to meet John and the team. I've interacted with you in the past. Yeah, to go straight to the question about investing in groups and why I would advise people form groups and invest in groups. The first reason is the economies of scale. I know people have heard that word, economies of scale, but to go deeper into it is the synergies you get when you form a group. I'll give an example. If you wanted to invest money and you needed about 100 million and you're an individual, you must be earning a very good salary or you have some source of income somewhere if you're able to raise that money if you wanted it in 1 month or even 5 months. But if you're a group of, let's say, 20 people and you wanted that money, it means each person is expected to contribute about 5 million. You may be able to raise that money maybe in 3 months or 4 months, but as an individual, you may require years. In this tough economy of Uganda, you may require a lot of time to raise that money. And sometimes investments require you to execute it very fast. If you have a good investment that you want to do, time is of essence. Someone else may invest in it. So as a group, you have those synergies. The second one is, we've talked the economies of scale in terms of raising capital. The second one is the economies of scale in terms of reducing the costs. For example, if I wanted a financial advisor for myself, I have to pay the same amount of money like the group if that same financial advisor came to give a lecture to a whole group. If you look at these days, banks, investment fund managers like XENO here, we look out for a group and actually provide financial advice for free. But imagine if you are alone, you may not be able to attract such an opportunity. So it's important to come as a group and you're able to enjoy that kind of benefit that may not be available to an individual. The third thing is when you look at risk, if you go into an investment alone, one, you may not have sufficient expertise, but when you come as a group, you're able to share knowledge and experiences. Some people could have done something you want to do. Maybe they did not even succeed in it, but they are likely to give you insights of what didn't work. And you're able to build on that as a group. And you are able to avoid certain mistakes just because as a group, you're able to share that kind of knowledge together. So that is important for form a group. If you look at currently, government gets these monies, they want to give it to groups. Sometimes even they have ideas which they have not thought out well. But I can tell you, Joanne, and the listeners, that groups that are organized are tapping into this money and they're actually benefiting. You'll hear Emyoga funds, you'll hear groups when they was born, all of them are trying to target groups. And therefore, if you're a group, you're able to tap into these funds. And if you have a good investment, you're able to make it, you're able to tap into that. You will look at the other thing, you look at, I talked about the risk. You're able to diversify your risk. If you went into an investment alone, if it fails, the loss is to you as an individual. But if, so you're able to diversify that risk.
Okay.
Then
thank you so much, Henry.
Yeah.
So you have shared very good insights. I do, and I think many of us here, since you have been in that area before, you have experience in that area, you know both the good and the bad. If you'd be so kind to recall for us an experience when you were setting up these groups, what were your learnings around how to structure the different types of investment, especially group investments for success?
Yeah, very good. One is to think about what is the goal as a group. Why exactly do you want to come together to invest together? So you have to think about the goal. Is it that you want to do business? Is it that you want to appreciate your capital? You have some money and you want it to grow. I have a group, for example, I have a group with some of my hobbies, and we had not thought about the kind of investment we wanted to do. But we didn't want to wait until we have finalized everything. So we said, why don't we come together, form this investment, bring this money together, put it in XENO. As we are collecting this money, waiting for that bigger investment we want to do, this money will be appreciating. So you have to think about what is the goal first. Two is whatever you want to invest in, what are the legal requirements? Therefore, that informs whether you need to register it as an investment club. Are you going to register it as a SACCO? So you have to understand the legalities around the kind of investment that you want to do. So that is very key. And then the expertise within. For example, at JCRC, when we were forming the investment group, it was clear because it was staff gratuity. And at the end, we wanted to make sure that this staff gratuity earns an interest by the time we are paying it out. So the goal was very clear. We wanted it to appreciate. And so it was easy to form. But for groups, individuals, where you want to invest as a group, you have to think about, one, are you wanting to invest in something you have expertise in? Is there an opportunity that you have identified and you want to invest in it? Do you know the environment for that kind of, the economic environment? Do you understand the market if you want to invest? Do you have the time? That is very key. So you look at fund managers like XENO, they will help to invest your money and it will appreciate as you have an 8 to 5 job somewhere and they are trying to invest for you. But if you wanted to go into an active investment, do you have that time? So you have to think about all those, yeah? You have to think about the risks for you by the time you're determining which kind of investment you want to do and how you want to structure it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Henry. Very well said. I hope we have our pens and papers and are taking notes because it's a very good pointers that you're sharing. So I'll jump straight to Kamara, but while we do, Joanita, we do have another poll question that we need to put up. And I think this is one for us to, again, get to hear from you to understand any fears or concerns that you may have around group investment. So Our poll question, our next poll question is already up, and it states, what are your primary concerns about investing with a group? So please share with us. You can share, maybe you can say, maybe I don't trust those people, or I don't know how it works. Any response you give us would be good for us to get to know how to serve you better. So Kamara, over to you. You do have a lot of experience around investment, and I think, like your portfolio has said, you have managed very large sums of money before. However, today you've developed for us a guide, let's call it a group investor guide. And I'm sure many of us would love to hear about that. And that guide, I'm certain, will cover so many things around, especially some of the concerns that our clients are going to share today. So over to you, Kamara.
Thank you, Joanita. Yeah, just briefly, before maybe we pull that up. Yeah, so we thought internally as XENO Investment Management, obviously we have several clients who are groups in the various forms. Of course, they come in, and we'll get into that. So from that experience, obviously, we have picked up on some of the intellectual challenges that that groups face as they form, as they manage their investments, as they try to attain their goals for setting up. So we thought it would be appropriate to, just come up with a simple guide and share it. Of course, it's far from comprehensive because it's quite detailed when it comes to how to manage investments. But we figure the details around selection and evaluation of investments is not the problem most of the people have. There are some things Henry alluded to that obviously I'll come back to, like management of the investments. Do you have time to manage your investments? Unfortunately, that's why investment advisors, investment firms exist. However, that doesn't remove the obligation from the individuals to have this knowledge. Yeah, so there is some guiding knowledge that you need to sort of map out where you want to go, what is the landscape you're in, and really what are we dealing with and what do we want to achieve. Yeah, so what we are hoping is that this will set the right mindset for those starting a group and also those who already have existing groups. It should lay a good foundation in terms of how to think about group investments and what are the nooks and crooks that could catch you off guard regards groups investments. Yeah, so that's just the background on why we wanted to share a guide of this nature. Yeah, so if you'll allow me, can I jump into it?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
All right, thank you. Just allow me to put up my screen. And just confirm for me if you're able to see it.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. All right. Good evening, audience again. My name is John Kamara. I'm the portfolio manager at XENO Investment. I'm just going to take you through a group investment guide. So first of all, what are group investments? We figure a lot of confusion comes out from these two issues. So there is the substance of a group investment and there is the actual form. So in substance, all group investments that you may hear, all really these are community-based financial associations where people come together, pool money, largely with the purpose of investing. Could also be saving, but largely with the purpose of investing. So in substance, this is what group investments allude to or are. Now, where it gets tricky sometimes is the form. What form do they take? So now the form really represents the legal nature of that investment group. So depending on what the members choose, the variety of ways they can come together, we call it a community-based association. They can come together to put money together, pool resources, and make investments. So these legal forms, there are a few types they would take on. A very common one is savings, credit, and cooperative societies, commonly known as SACCOs. That is one. There is investment clubs and investment associations, or simply associations. We have limited liability companies. We have companies limited by guarantee. We also have general partnerships. We also have limited partnerships. Now, all these fancy words represent legal forms through which a community-based association or group of members can put their activities together legally to make group investments. So this is usually the starting point. The substance is usually there. The people have a common mind. They've come together to invest. Now the issue is which form do they take? And we were particular to talk about this because that is the starting point that builds the foundation to which your group investments will be best. So what we want to guide on is depending on the group's goals or objectives, which of these forms is appropriate for what, and that is what this table shows. So we have the groups as you can see in the matrix, and the common objectives or financial objectives for setting up groups, and our guests alluded to some of them. One is savings, two is lending and credit for the members, three is trade and commerce, that is doing active business, and then the last is passive investments. Passive investment simply refers to investments you buy and hold, and they don't require any action from you other than buying it and holding the title, certificate of ownership. So we've lined up the different forms and showing what they are most appropriate for. Now, going through them quickly, when you look at the SACCOs, the savings association and credit cooperatives, they are very good for saving, and they are also very appropriate for credit and lending. Now, the reasons that make these particular forms suitable for those different uses is a combination of the tax law, is a combination of the suitability in terms of the legal setup, also the compliance requirements from the law, and the complications with registration and maintenance of these entities. So savings and credit, very good for saving money. Usually there is a compulsory amount members must save, and all members must save, and most of the members who are there, they come to borrow money. So it's also extremely good for lending money. It is a financial institution whose business is primarily lending. So we've seen many SACCOs come up in Uganda as well as in the region. So they're perfect for that. Trade and commerce are not so good. Passive investments, not very appropriate. Now you come to clubs and associations. So clubs and associations are more of the informal groups that you see, normally comprised of families, comprised of schoolmates like Henry and his old boys. They come together, form an association. The association is merely bound by a constitution that all the members sign and a simple resolution. So these are very good for savings, also because they have a social effect or impact. Members agree, let us all save. It's a social thing. If you don't do it, you're sort of out of place. You're not like a member of the club. So it's very good for savings, and it's also very good for passive investments. Reason being, this is usually a group of diverse members. They are usually maybe having 9-to-5 jobs. They're involved in other forms of business. So they have come together because of a social connection, and they want to pull money together and build some investment. So it's unlikely they'll have the requisite management structures, etc., to run trade and commerce in lending that is done in a prudent way. Then we go to companies. These are limited companies where they are shareholders, boards of directors, etc. These are very good for not good for savings. It's unlikely you form a company simply to save. It's not worth it. They're very good with credit and lending. They can have this as their part of their business activities, just like several financial institutions. And they're also very good with trade and commerce. Again, the reasons revolve around the tax law and compliance of such an entity. Yeah, so very good for trade and commerce, not very good for passive investments in terms of some double taxation issues that can occur there. I'll just leave that at that. If anyone on the call wants to know more about that, we can delve into that. Then partnerships are fairly similar to companies, but they are usually very good for trade and commerce as well, but also for passive investments. Again, the details around that revolve around the tax law to do with that. So that really, in a nutshell, is where you start from, figuring out what form do we want to take, and that will be informed by the objective that you're coming together to do. And once you discover the objective, once you're honest about what your advantages are, your disadvantages are, what you're capable of, then you can pick the appropriate form. And it's now just about registering it, doing the necessary paperwork, and having it set up. So second to that is something, again, I've just alluded to, the advantages of group investing. Aside from the obvious advantage that you come together socially, which is one of the main reasons some of these groups form, is there are other intangible benefits that end up accruing to groups, and it's no wonder groups tend to be more successful entities than individuals. Groups increase commitment. Yeah, so our guest also alluded to it. So there is, this increased commitment from the members when they are 10 people saving together. It really reinforces the fact that they need to save. If 9 of them save and 1 doesn't, then that one is very much compelled to go ahead and save. A big advantage over time has also been access to credit. This is sort of on the investment side. A big benefit of coming in groups is you can access credit, and also that credit flows backwards and earns returns for the savers in that group. Also, they provide access to sizable investment opportunities. What this simply means is that, as Henry alluded to, if you need to accumulate 100 million for an investment, it's likely you would do it easier with 5 or 10 people than trying to go at it alone. So those really are just talking about why you may need to consider undertaking a group investment, or why it is worth the trouble. Then lastly, moving on to the moving on to how to manage your investment. This is also a big issue. After you've set it up, you've known what you're up for, you know the advantages. How to go about managing these investments? Very briefly, what you need to do as a group is build what they call an investment policy statement, commonly called an IPS. Now, there's a variety of IPSs in terms of style, and they're commonly used by institutions. But very simply, the factors inside an IPS that you need to discover. First of all, this statement, it's the guiding document that describes how this group wants to invest its money. Now, why is it very important to set at the beginning? This sets the tone. This removes any misconceptions or miscommunications between the members, and really puts a goal the members can work towards. So, investment policy statement typically looks at what's the return objective. You have to state what the return objective is. In simple English, it's what kind of profit do you wish to get, or do you want to get? Now, why this question is pertinent, the answer seems obvious, that we want to get a lot of returns. That's the answer everyone would answer. But why it is talking about objective is, what is an investment return you would achieve that you would consider successful? This is very important because it will guide you which investments you can go in, which investments you can't. Of course, this is in conjunction with the other things I'm going to talk about. So 2 is a risk objective. In simple English, it's how much risk are you willing to take? Can we lose 50% of our capital? Are we fine with that? Can we not take any loss of our savings? Are we willing to risk only 20% of our savings? That sort of thing. How much risk are we willing and able to take? Then you'll also move to what are our constraints? What constraints do we face? Common things are what taxes will we face when we invest? What are the costs to managing this group? What is the amount of capital this group can deal with reasonably? If we are 10 members and we can only save 100,000 a month, the constraint would be we probably cannot take on investments that are 200 million. It would take us 10 years to even accumulate that money. So those are the kind of constraints that you deal with. And when you see those three, what are your return objectives? What's our risk appetite, and also what constraints do we have? When you look at that prism, it starts to guide you to the sort of investments you can and cannot do, and that is the clarity that groups need to reach. Then last but not least, of course, is how do we allocate the resources we have? Very, very important question. In investment terms, this is what you hear them call asset allocation or portfolio allocation. So of the resource pool we have of our assets, what percentage are we willing to invest in which particular asset class or category? So are we willing to invest a maximum of 50% invested, a maximum of 10% in unit trusts, a maximum of 10% in bonds or the stock market, etc.? That sort of framework. Very important for you to decide after you figured out return objectives, where your risk lies, your constraints, etc. You need to decide how much of your assets can you invest in what, because this is something that's going to guide you. Then moving on quickly just to the investment universe. Now that's something else also a group needs to understand. So after you figure this out, we wanted to show you a scope. What are really the investable things that are available to you? Why we call it a universe? It's what's accessible. Something outside the universe is probably not accessible. So we've broken it up into broad categories. Of course, this could be split further, but that's probably there isn't enough time in the discussion to split those further. So in broad categories, we're just going to talk about 5 broad categories. The first category is what we are calling private equity. What private equity is in simple language is business, is private companies, is business. It can be as small as a Rolex stand to as big as a steel company. All that would fall into what we are terming as private equity. So it's investment in businesses that are private. So if all of us 5 decide to start a group, then we say we want to start a washing bay, that would be categorized as that. So what are the pros with this kind of investment? It has ability to generate very high returns because it's business. If you get in a good business, you could make high returns on your capital. Of course, in terms of the constraints, this business achieving high returns. Of these returns, of course, require a lot of business management skills. A set of skills that most ordinary people do not have. Also, a disadvantage is that in some cases, the minimum investment requirement is high. There's an opportunity to invest in, for example, a cement business tomorrow. Many of us would not have the required amounts to invest. Moving on to, and also to mention, as a general rule, this category of investment is considered high risk. Because of the fact that this money is being put in a business, and the ability to get this money out, let alone a return, is purely dependent on the business cycle, the business management, the performance of the business. So in such an investment category, you can experience 100% loss. So that's why we term the risk level high. Moving on to another is private credit. This is also a big broad asset class. What this simply means is investments that are made in form of lending money to a private business. This risk level is also high. This is where money lending lies. Again, the big advantage is you can generate high returns on capital. I'm sure most of the people on this call know what money lenders charge. Those are the sort of returns that you would make if you are on the lending side. Cons with this, it's often full of moral hazard. What moral hazard is simply is wrong behavior, intentional wrong behavior as you deal with people. So there's a lot of this in lending money. Also, it involves a lot of expertise in terms of legal and lending procedures and processes that will ensure you're able to collect money. That's another broad category. Second last category is public equity. This is now on the other side of private equity. Now, this is where you make investments in businesses or companies through buying their shares on the stock exchange. Pros with this: easy accessibility. Anyone with 100,000 shillings can go on the stock exchange, invest in a business there, buy MTN shares, so forth. Low investment amounts, as I mentioned. Also an advantage, it can generate good returns over a long period of time. The cons with this, or the concerns that with this category, obviously it requires a very good understanding of how business works, how financial markets work, the psychology of stock exchanges and financial markets. So you need a very good understanding of these if you're to make money in the stock market. Another con is that the investment values fluctuate with market prices. So oftentimes in the stock market, unfortunately, the value of the shares you hold is not necessarily equal to what the price might be that day. So it fluctuates for a variety of market-driven reasons. It's really an auction-driven market. So depending on one day, it can go up, it can go down. Then we also have public credit, which is now the opposite of private credit. Risk here is considered low. These are investments that are made by lending regulated financial institutions or the state, which is government. Examples in this are fixed deposits, that is public credit, as well as treasury bills, bonds, corporate bonds, etc. So pros with this: it provides regular cash returns. You get your returns back in cash often. It provides easy accessibility. You can move in and out frequently. Then in terms of cons, the returns are usually fixed for a long period of time. This has some implications if you invest for a long time because markets move. So a fixed rate can be disadvantageous sometimes. And also in some markets, in some regions, these returns may be deliberately depressed by the issuers of this debt. Particularly, government policies or state policies can ensure that returns on this asset class are low. Yeah. Lastly is real estate. Again, a very broad category. Risk level is medium. There are very many intricacies around real estate, but really we are referring to investment in landed property and buildings. So this also can generate good returns, but over a long period of time. Obvious cons are it's extremely cumbersome to manage, also needs a very good understanding of markets, legal aspects, zoning, community issues, etc. Yeah, so those are the broad asset classes or the universe, what we call the universe of where ultimately your money can be invested. Now, as you realize, we've not talked about the vehicles through which it can be invested. That's a separate issue. The vehicle can be different, but this is really the what we call the underlying exposure that you would have. So lastly is for a group to figure out is the concept of direct versus indirect management of their investments. Now, direct means we take charge of the management of our investments. We do it ourselves. We make all the investment decisions ourselves. Indirect means we deploy the professional help, or use a vehicle that helps us get into any of these asset classes. So indirect investment is commonly done through funds. You've heard of funds commonly in Uganda, unit trust funds. That's a very easy way to make an investment in some of those broad asset classes we've talked about. So you do it through a fund. So in that way, you're not figuring out which investment to buy, which investment to sell. You simply invest in the fund, and that's its advantage. It makes investing regularly, making regular investments in varying portions very easy, and also in reverse, liquidating those investments in various portions is also easy. Usually you get help with the professionally managed, and the task here you have is to select the investment manager or the investment partner or advisor you work with. On the other hand, direct investment requires hands-on management. If we take the example of where we set a group and we want to establish a washing bay business, now this involves us getting involved in the management and all the things that every other business manager would do to successfully run and manage their business. It also involves selection of individual investments. For example, in the market right now, if we look at financial securities, I think we have 30 to 50 bonds outstanding, probably the same number of treasury bills. So you'll have to start selecting which one do we invest in, which proportion do we invest in, and all that. Also, it's extremely time consuming. So this also requires you to have enough time to think about the investments and evaluate them. Yeah, so basically, Joanita, back over to you, but those are simply, that is the brief guide we thought we'll share with the audience to sort of help them to start to think about how to manage their group investments. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Kamara. Very insightful, and snippets of this brief will be shared on our different social media platforms in case you have any questions, or in case you need any help, you can refer to that discussion a little later on. But this is also going to be an opportunity where I say, if you are a group and you've already formulated yourselves, you guys are looking to actually invest and maybe need an investment manager to help you achieve your goals, or we have the right expertise at XENO to help your group succeed. So if you're that group, or if you're a member of that group and you're here today, go ahead to register your details in a form that we're going to provide in our chat section. Joanita is going ahead to pick it up right now. And our advisors, our investment advisors, will be to help you get you started. So this is basically your wake-up call. In case you want to get started, this is the time. Now, that being said, I know we have a little bit over, I think, 15 minutes. So I'm going to use that time to jump quickly into our next session. So quickly, Henry, and of course, Kamara as well, regarding investment strategy, it's safe to say that the general goal of investment clubs is to profit its members. Myself and a couple of friends of mine have a group, and the way it started, honestly, is we were just like, but why don't we just put some money aside, And honestly, we didn't have a goal in mind. It was just extra cash, let's just find somewhere to put it, and we invest it. If it grows, well and good. If it doesn't, it will be savings that we can look back at the end of the year. But I find that maybe with all that you've shared, the thing that has really stood out is have a goal, have a plan, that if we are going for maybe real estate, or we're looking to grow our investments, or we're looking to just basically invest as a group, what does that look like? So that being said, what ways can groups begin making the right type of investments for them? How does a group decide that this is the best investment for us? And then, go ahead to pursue it with all the steps that you guys have provided. Really briefly, both of you. I think I'll start with Henry.
Yeah, thank you, Joan. I know if the members followed the presentation by Joan, by Kamara, you realize that that investment guide provides quite an insight into how you decide to make a right investment. Yeah, to decide the strategy of what you want to invest in. One is important to know your objective. That's very key. to know why exactly you want to invest. You've alluded to the fact that many people invest because they want to make a profit. I'll call it a return on investment. And the return could be in form of profit if you're doing real business trading. It can be in the capital appreciation that you kept your money somewhere with XENO or with any investment fund manager, and that money, by the time you want to use it, you're going to have, it will have earned some return on it. Or that is actually your major investment. You want to earn an interest on the money that you want to invest. So the objective is very key. The other thing to know is the expertise. Among you, do you have some expertise to evaluate the kind of investment that you want to do? So that's very important that you have. If you want to invest in something, you need to research. I've listened to groups where people say, no, just start, but that is very dangerous. People just say, just start. And if you say just start, in the end, you realize that, okay, what was our objective? And people start questioning the group objective, and that is exactly what fails the group. Two, you need to understand your members, because some people will go and invest because someone has interested you in a group. You don't know, you don't have a background, there's no bond between you, and then you come to this group. Now, when times are tight, when times are tough, that's when you realize the negative part that, okay, I didn't have a bond with these people. So it's important to understand, first of all, the skills you have within the group or the expertise. Two, what is your objective? Do you want to maintain your capital? Are you planning to just save money for the future? So you want to collectively save this money? In the guide that John just shared, it shows you what kind of form you need to take. If you want to trade and you want to make a profit, it would be better to form a company. Yeah. So that it means your type of investment is going to be actual trading. You're going to think of products that you're going to deal in. You're going to evaluate the risks of those products. You're going to assess the market and then go into trading. If you're someone who wants to earn a return, but you don't have the time to do the active running of the business, then you're going to think about things like securities, where now investment advisors like XENO come in and tell you, if you invest like this, if you will help you assess your risk tolerance, you know this is how much I'm willing to lose, then you think of that investment. So it's important to think about that. The third thing I would talk about is exit strategy. It's important to think about, because some people get locked into a group, and if you don't think about what if a member wants to exit, what happens? Should a group collapse because one member has chosen to exit? So it's important to think, okay, we want to go into this investment. If anyone wants to exit, what is the exit strategy? If your
hopefully the member that's exiting did have a lot of money.
Yeah. Actually, if someone has a lot of money, the group will likely collapse. Yeah. And then you have to understand the decision making. If you're someone who wants to make a big decision, every decision on your money, yeah, but because my money is there, my vote must count. Then you have to think about even the way you contribute your capital. Yeah, the way you contribute your capital, is it equal contribution? Who is going to make a decision over what? Yeah. If you are someone who is a PK and you want to run this business yourself as a member of the group, yeah, and you join this group, you have trust. You've seen comments in the group where people are asking about the group dynamics, the trust issues. Yeah. I can tell you, if you go into actual trading, the risks are very high, and people will make decisions. And if you start questioning those decisions and you don't trust the members who have made those decisions, you're going to have issues. So it's important to understand all that dynamic as you choose which kind of you choose your strategy of what you want to invest in. Yeah, the legal requirements around it, the tax requirements around it, you must think about all that before you make a decision. And use experts. It's important. If you don't have the expertise within, ask people who have, ask tax consultants, ask financial advisors. I have a friend who had locked her money somewhere and was making for her a return of about, I think, 7%, but it was 1.2 billion. And I was saying, but this money here, when do you want to use it? Yeah, he said, no, I just want it to be generating for me money on a monthly basis for me to use. So he said, but how much do you use? So he realized that actually he had put this money somewhere, but he had not analyzed that actually he can earn a big return on it if he invested it somewhere else. So that's very important.
Thank you very much, Henry. Thank you very much. Kamara, is there anything that you'd like to add that Henry hasn't shared around how members can, what ways can groups begin making the right types of investments for them?
Thank you. I think Henry has done justice to that in terms of coverage. Only thing I would add is just because from experience and what we see is the issue of figuring out the objective. What do you want to do in terms of investments, and more importantly, what don't you want to do? I think also people can get some more insights from figuring out what they do not want to do. So as an example, if you don't want to do lending with members or credit with members, figure that out and say that's a path you don't want to take. And once that's clear, you start to get clarity on how you'll move forward. Also, I would encourage whatever you've decided, let there be some form of writing regards what your structure is. Of course, I talked about the investment policy, the constitution, etc. Even if you don't go that far, at least as the members, what you agree, write it down. That there is so much power in having what you've agreed written down in terms of guiding you in the future. So move the conversation onto a paper. That's how I would. That's in summary how I would try to advise groups how to choose investments.
Thank you so much, Kamara. Thank you so much. So we do have a quick walkthrough. As XENO, we actually do provide a product, a couple products actually, that are to support or meant to support different groups. We have circles, investment groups, we have joint accounts, maybe for partners, for families, and so on and so forth. So we're going to do a walkthrough later. But before we do, one last question for Henry. Henry, you are a XENO client in the capacity of a group, and you oversee a very large group that also, I think, hosts or boasts of a very large asset under management. We'll not get into the details of that. However, I just want to hear from you, how have the groups utilized XENO platforms to invest together? Because I know there are a couple of groups. There's one with your OBs, there's one with your family, and then there's one, of course, with your current employment. So share with us, how have groups utilized the XENO platform to invest together and to invest better in like the next 2 minutes?
Yeah, thank you, Joanne. I know from the discussions we've had and even the questions that are coming on the chat, they show you how groups struggle with the transparency bit. And one of the things that we are looking out for when we're starting our groups was, how do we be transparent so that every member is able to access this information? Yeah, both here at JCRC, we wanted to be a platform where a member can actually see whatever is happening on their account. When the money is deposited, they are able to see their statement. I'm able to get a statement as a representative. I'm able to know how much interest it has earned, and actually it's credited on a daily basis. And therefore, when we had a presentation to the members of my groups, and including our staff here, it was very easy to tell them that this is to determine that this is the right platform we needed, because it gives you the transparency. Two, the other thing is setting the goal. Yeah, you're able to determine when you're setting your goal, you're able to determine your risk tolerance from the application, from the platform. You're able to set your goal. How much do you need to, you want to raise? For example, I have a group which is an education fund for a family. Yeah. And we wanted this money to grow to a certain amount. So we are able to set our goal, and the platform was able to compute for us and say, okay, this is how much you need to be saving on every month to achieve your goal. Every member. Secondly, there is the convenience of depositing the money. I can be on my desk. I just need to get my phone. I go to the XENO app. I'm able to say deposit money, and I'm able to transfer money from my phone to the account. So the convenience, the transparency, the tools that are embedded in to be able to support someone, walk through the person who may not have ever have used any of these platforms, yeah, or doesn't even have the financial knowledge to calculate some things. Yeah, the platform is that elaborate, and we found it very useful for that purpose.
Thank you so much, Henry. Very well said. And maybe just to iterate, as you know, we genuinely pride ourselves in being transparent and providing our clients as much leeway to own and personalize their experience. So if you are, again, a group out there, you're a member of a group and you're here and you're interested in getting started, we have advisors that can walk a journey with you and get you started. So go ahead to fill in that form that Joanita shared earlier. We'll have somebody reach out to you and enable you to start this journey. So I'm going to ask Kamara really quickly to share.
Joanne, maybe before Kamara comes in, let me just add one thing. Yes, the ability of the platform to accommodate all different groups, whether you're a registered group, yeah, because most of the other platforms that I've interacted with is where someone wants you to be a registered, maybe you're either an investment club registered with a certificate, or you're a circle, or you're a company. But to be able to, for example, my family group is not registered as any kind of group, but I'm able to save as a group, and the platform is able to provide for me that service. I think that was a big selling point for me to use the XENO platform.
For sure. Thank you so much for highlighting that. And yes, we cover a barrage of different individuals, but also groups walking different journeys and looking to achieve different goals. So again, like I said earlier, visit our website, www.myxeno.com, if you have any questions, but just to explore and see what our products or how much more our product can provide you. So I'm going to ask Kamara really to quickly share the part of the presentation where I'll quickly walk you through our onboarding process for one of our products, which is for investment groups. It's really brief and it's really self-explanatory. We also show you at the beginning what you need to have before you embark on this journey. I know for some investment processes, many people have to do so many things, what. Of course, just like any other business that's in the financial sector, there's a lot of things around KYC, which is know your customer identification, that is required. So you bear with us when it comes to things of that nature. So having your ID with you, just to know that you're the person that you say you are, and for us to be able to do the necessary checks that need to be done. But those in no way inconvenience your experience. All right, Kamara, can get started. So when you go ahead to visit our website, like I said, www.myxeno.com, you will be greeted with a wonderful smiling child. But this is a video actually that will constantly change and show you different people with different or in different walks of life. So you will scroll over to the icon that says institutions, and when you click on it, it will bring you options around circles, around, if you can briefly go back, Kamara, briefly, it will bring you options around institutions, circles, investment clubs, then you can select what you want. In this case, we're going to go with an investment club. So when you click investment club, because you are joining for the first time, next screen, Kamara, because you're joining for the first time, we will ask you where you would like to invest. Now, ideally, we are not asking if you want to invest in Kenya. What we are asking is where you are currently located. And if you read the small prompt, it actually says that it notifies you of what we mean when we ask where would you like to invest. It means we are wanting to know which country you are in at the time. Proceed. If you click Uganda, in this case we are in Kampala, Uganda, we bring you these options where you select that you would like to save with a group. Proceed, Kamara. When you select with a group, we bring you the different options or the different products that we provide under our group execution. One is an investment club, the other is a circle, and the other is as a family. When you proceed with any of these, first thing, of course, we'd like to get to know you is we ask you for your name and importantly, how they show up on your national ID and your email address. When we proceed, okay. Anyway, when you proceed, we verify the information that you've given us. So we verify your phone number and we verify your national, we verify your phone number and your email address. Just make sure that you're the person that you are. So you'll receive an OTP that you input at this journey, and then you will proceed. There'll be a couple of questions that will ask you, what is your goal, the goal that you're trying to achieve, and so on and so forth, the number of people that you'd like to have in your group. And as you go along, of course, there are a couple of things like who would be the group administrator, who are the members of the group, because they would have to be added. The good thing about our execution with group members is your members can actually join either via the app, the web, and of course, USSD. All that needs to be done is the administrator shares a code with them. It's called an administrator's code or a group code. When they share that code with you, you input it, and then you're able to join the group. So it's pretty simple execution. However, we pride ourselves in it because it really hits so many birds with one stone. We have groups that are looking to achieve a diverse portfolio, you know. And the good thing about XENO is, again, like maybe Kamara has highlighted, that we do not invest or don't put all your eggs in one basket. We diversify your portfolio and ensure that your money is maximized to the best or to its fullest. And the returns are also maximized to the fullest, but also you get to watch that journey from start to end. So please head over to our website, explore. If you have any questions, I'm seeing a couple of questions around if you know, our interactions with our clients are paid for or free. They are 100% free. In case you're interested, just get in touch with us and we'll schedule a session with you as soon as possible. So I'll allow for maybe 2 questions in case they are there from the audience before we get to close our webinar for today. And thank you for being fantastic guests. If there are any questions, maybe you can go ahead to raise your hand. I'll give that about 1 or 2 minutes. While the questions come in, I'll go ahead to peruse through maybe some of the submissions some of us had. Earlier on, we asked about the primary concerns about investing with a group. Some members say group management challenges, which I think is pretty spot on. And mistrust is hindering group formations. And that's something that Chibi George shared. Mistrust is hindering group formation when it comes to business issues. That's true. Many times group leaders have disappeared with funds meant for a certain group, and this has created great fear in the society. That is also very true. But fortunately, XENO's group execution is pretty transparent. A lot of what needs to be done must be agreed upon as a group, or there must be 1 or 2 or more than 2 people or different levels of approval before X amount of money has to be taken out of an account, and so on and so forth. But also, like Henry highlighted, every group member has access to an account and can view their investment individually, but also collectively as a group. I see we have a hand. Joanita, if you could enable this person to share. Yeah. Yes, William Matthew PMB. All right, I see we have 2. We have Elias Tumukunde and William Matthew. Elias, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Joanita.
Welcome, my
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Very well.
Okay. Okay, I'm already investing with XENO. What I want to know is Like, can I be able to view like my statement on a monthly basis to see how this month it has performed? Huh? Like on a daily basis, is that possible to know that this day maybe I earned this, then at the end of the month I earned this amount? Because normally what is reflected is cumulative. I don't know how it is performing. Okay, I don't know this month did perform well, the other month did perform badly, something like that.
Okay. Understood. I'll give this question over to Kamara. This is XENO. This one.
Thank you, Elias. Thank you, and thank you for joining us on this call. And obviously, thank you for entrusting us with your savings and your investment. We are happy to manage your investments. Yes, you're able to see your investment performance on a monthly basis. There is on the dashboard, when you go to accounts, you're able to download what we call a return statement. Now that return statement will show you for every particular goal you have. It will show you the investment return for a particular month. And if you download the statement midway the month, it will show you for mid the month where you have reached in the month so far. And it will be able to show you return in actual money. Yeah, so what you see on the first glance dashboard, as you correctly said, is cumulative. If you want the monthly position, you simply download the return statement. It will show you the returns for every month since inception for that particular call. I'll just request one of the advisors to get in touch with you tomorrow to make sure you're able to access this statement in case you fail to navigate on the dashboard. I hope that helps, Mr. Tumukunde. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elias. If you could just drop us your email address and we'll have somebody reach out to you to just walk you through how you can navigate the dashboard and for you to be able to check out your return statements frequently. Hope that was sufficient. So William, over to you. We have a bit over a minute. William,
hello.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Good evening, Joanita, Mr. John, and Mr. Henry for the brief meeting. But mine is about the legal requirements when forming up these investment groups. So does XENO provide you with a detailed requirements required for you to form up an investment group and which kind of form? Then another thing, which bank account is required? Do you have to form a group bank account or an individual bank account? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, William. I think that will also be a question for Kamara.
Thank you, William. In terms of the form you'll take to register your investment group, obviously we can provide some advice and guidance, but of course you'll need to have a lawyer or someone of similar expertise help you register your group. But it is quite simple. And on top of that, maybe I could highlight and mention that the family group account that we've mentioned does not require legal registration. It simply requires, that's why we call the account family. So ideally, it's a group of brothers and sisters, for example, coming together to save and invest with a transparent platform where they can all view their balances and work together. They can manage their withdrawals. They can manage where the money goes, where it doesn't go as a family group. So that, for example, does not need any registration. So depending on your needs, if you look at, you'll see in the guide, we are going to share the guide with you all after. If you can see in the guide, depending on what activities you want to take on, if it is simple saving and passive investments like in our unit trust funds, then you may not need to go through that bother. Maybe if it's a very big group with strangers and so forth, you can go into legal registration. But please reach out. We'll be able to direct you to appropriate people who can help you legally register these different entities. Did I get that all?
I think you did. I think you did. Okay. All right. So our time is fast spent, unless you'd allow me 5 minutes. I see there's a couple more questions here in our chat. Okay, so Paul Wabamuno is saying, I'm from Bela, Uganda. You will need to present this to the staff. Paul would be very happy to, if you could just share with us maybe your contact. We'll be happy to reach out to you and schedule a time when we can come and share with your staff. That'd be really, really nice. Frank, you were saying, I have been here for a few minutes, but I feel like it's the place to stay. Thanks for the service. Well, thank you so much for choosing us, Frank. We take not your time nor your trust for granted. So thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. Let's see. Magembe Henry says, should a group have an account in a commercial bank or an individual account is sufficient?
Yes, thanks, CJ. I think that was William's also second
question.
Yes,
that was actually William's second question, yes.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that. Yeah, so William and Henry, you do not necessarily need to have the group account. Again, that will depend on how you've set up. If you've set up as a company, then it will have a company bank account as the beneficiary. But either way, the person setting up the account with XENO, the process that Joanita showed you in terms of how you set up, you want to invest a group, then the part that says we want to get to know you. So the person registering will also select the beneficiary details. So there are two uses of a bank account. One would be to send us money to invest. The other would be to get back the money you've invested. Now, to invest with us, obviously, you don't need a bank account to send us money. You can directly deposit it on the bank account that we provide, or you can deposit it through mobile money. As you are aware, we have a partnership with MTN Mobile Money that allows you to send the money zero cost from your MTN Mobile Money, so you can also make that deposit on your account or even Henry's free of charge. So all that is the flexibility of depositing. Now, withdrawing the money and getting money back from your investments, you will provide details of beneficiary account. So the details you provide as the beneficiary is where the funds will be sent. If it is a group, typically it would be the administrator's account or any other account as a group you've decided to select. If it's individual investments accounts, you can also have the money back to your mobile money wallet if you decide to withdraw the funds. So it's extremely flexible, and that is why Joanita earlier alluded to how we pride ourselves in terms of truly making this convenient and seamless for you to handle and manage your investments. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kamara. So I'll bring our beautiful session to a close. As is, all wonderful things have to come to an end. But like I shared at the start, we are back with our webinar. So expect a webinar every end of month. And this time around, we're focusing on groups. We're focusing on how to help groups work together better, invest together better, save together better, and to be able to achieve their targets better. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to our panelists today. Mr. Thank you so much for your time. We know you're a very busy man, so for you to cut out some time for us today, we take it for granted. So thank you so much. Mr. Kamara as well, thank you so much for the amazing way that you have presented what we provide. And I'm looking forward to people reaching out to you guys and sharing or asking you some questions. And I hope when they do, you'd be open to supporting them as best you can. So our panelists did allow to share a couple of their details here. So Mr. Henry Rwabuhinga, like I said, is a finance manager. But if you are to reach out to him, please email him on hrwabuhinga@jcrc.org.ug. Please only send serious things. Don't be spamming Mr. Henry's email with, we shall deny you. But also you can reach out to Mr. Kamara at john.kamara@myzeno.com, or you can DM him on his Twitter, which is now X, at Kamara_Rwabuhinga. That's on Twitter. However, we would like to hear some feedback from you. So Joanita is going to share a feedback link. Please go ahead to let us know what we can do better, how we can improve these sessions, how we can make them more lively. If there's somebody out there in the industry that you feel like can add value to these discussions, it would also be a nice platform for you to share with us. That being said, if you'd like to know more about XENO, maybe to receive any type of communication from us, go ahead to, like our pages on social media, check out our different, channels, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. And in case you want to share this particular conversation with a friend, it will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. That will be YouTube XENO Investment. If you'd like to check out any other platform, on X, we are at XENO Uganda. On Instagram, it's XENO Investment, and the rest, it's just XENO Investment. On our website, like I said, myzeno.com, you can go ahead to check us out in case you want to delve deep into what we do and what we provide. Thank you so much for your time. God richly bless you. Until next time, or until next end of month. So keep watch of our social media platforms. We'll be announcing who's coming next and what we'll be discussing next. A huge thank you to the different people that have helped us behind the scenes, Joanita, David, Henry, Maria, and the different people that are the XENO team that's going ahead to respond to different questions. Thank you so much for your time. Wonderful, wonderful evening. Bye-bye.